The greatest female boxer currently fighting and arguably to ever box is widely regarded as the incredibly decorated Claressa Shields, who has claimed essentially every accolade one could dream to claim as a boxer, amateur or professional, all while sustaining a perfect professional record and dominating every weight division she has dared to step foot in. But in recent years, a young fighter has been making her name known across the boxing world, racking up accolades and shattering records at the young age of 23 years old. The breakout youth sensation Gabriela Fundora.
The Ray Corona stops it, or Fundora's going to stop it.
A lot into every one of these shots. And that'll do it. Ray Corona has seen enough.
Both fighters are at the very top of the sport, easily surpassing the vast majority of their peers in both talent and trophies. But does Gabriela Fundora truly have what it takes to surpass the greatness that is Claressa Shields and her dominant grasp on women's boxing? In today's video, we'll be comparing two of the greatest female fighters currently boxing in Gabriela Fundora and Claressa Shields and their accomplishments, current impact on the sport, and determine if Fundora has what it takes to stack up against the impeccable legacy that Shields has constructed for herself. Going all the way back to their amateur careers, not much comparison is truly needed. While Fundora was a decorated amateur in her own right, having claimed a couple gold medals at notable tournaments and championships, Claressa Shields recorded one of, if not the greatest amateur boxing career a female boxer has ever put together. Shields claimed gold medals at every single major tournament or championship she attended as an amateur, which included 2 Olympic gold medals, one at the 2012 London Games and the second at the 2016 Rio Games. It's honestly a little difficult to get across just how dominant Claressa was as an amateur. I think some solid comparisons of her dominance in amateur boxing would be Cuban legends Teofimo Stevenson or Felix Savan, or Ukrainian legend Vasily Lomachenko, who also won just about any and everything imaginable as amateurs. It's going to be very difficult for any female, hell, really even any male boxer to reach the same stature as Claressa Shields was able to on the amateur scene. So I think it goes without saying that Fundora doesn't hold a candle to Shields as far as amateur careers go. But while amateur accolades look nice in a trophy cabinet, they don't really mean anything in the professional game. So let's turn our focus to the pro careers of these two female boxing superstars. At the time of writing this video, both Gabriela Fundora and Claressa Shields are the undisputed world champions of their respective divisions, with Fundora holding all 4 belts in the flyweight division and Shields having claim to all the titles in the heavyweight division. While it is, of course, a rather impressive feat to unify your division or capture all 4 titles and be able to call yourself the true undisputed champion of your division, the fact that Gabriela Fundora has been able to achieve this feat at the young age of just 23 years old is incredibly impressive. Fundora first claimed a world title as a professional at just 21 years old with a knockout on October 21st, 2023, when she claimed the IBF flyweight world title, which she would defend twice before becoming the youngest undisputed world champion in boxing history at 22 years old after unifying the flyweight division against Gabriela Celeste Alaniz on November 2nd, 2024. But undisputed world championships is something Claressa Shields is very familiar with. Claressa is one of only 2 boxers to ever hold all 4 world titles simultaneously in 3 different weight divisions at different periods, a feat only shared with American legend Terrence "Bud" Crawford, though Shields was the first boxer to actually achieve this feat by unifying her 3rd division, the female heavyweight division, on February 2nd, 2025, about half a year before Crawford defeated Canelo for the super middleweight undisputed world titles. Taking the undisputed titles out of the picture, it will still be a tough task for Gabriela Fundora or anyone to surpass the domination on a world title level that Claressa Shields has demonstrated thus far. In just her 4th fight as a professional, Claressa claimed the WBC and inaugural IBF super middleweight world titles with a stoppage victory over long-reigning champion Nikki Adler, all the way back on August 4th, 2017, and has not had a non-world title fight since that match, with 15 of her 18 total recorded professional bouts having been for a world title, which goes without saying is incredibly impressive. In comparison, Fundora did not win a world title until her 13th fight as a professional, and has only had 6 total world title fights in her young career. But, as previously emphasized, since Fundora is just 23 years old, with her expected dominance, by the end of her career she could very well realistically surpass a handful of Claressa Shields' accomplishments. Her youth, coupled with the fact that she currently boxes at one of the lowest weight classes, gives her plenty of room to improve and move up in weight class and show her dominance across multiple divisions. something that Claressa has made a point in doing. Granted, she is much bigger than Fundora. A question I'd like to pose is which of these talented fighters is currently boxing the tougher level of opposition? While of course Claressa Shields has defeated many accomplished fighters previously, at the moment she is fighting at the female heavyweight division, which contains some of the lowest level of opposition in the sport of boxing, male or female, due to the incredibly slim pickings. The combined record of her last 4 opponents during her reign at heavyweight is 33-5-2, with 2 of those opponents having had less than 10 fights, with one in particular, Danielle Perkins, being granted the match against Shields with only 5 fights under her belt. Granted, she was the only undefeated opponent Shields has faced at heavyweight. Obviously, this isn't Shields' fault. She doesn't dictate the rankings, but I think a move back down a few weight classes would open her up to much bigger fights against opponents that truly hold some weight in the boxing world. In comparison, the flyweight division is not much better than the heavyweight division in terms of what it offers and levels of competition. In the few years Gabriela Fundora has been at the top of her division, she has claimed notable wins over the likes of Aureli Mocinho and the aforementioned Gabriela Celeste, 2 very well respected fighters in the division. Fundora's last 4 opponents combined record adds up to 57-4-1, which on paper does bode well for the Mexican American when you compare that to Shields' last 4, but this is inflated by the largely padded record of one of Fundora's previous opponents. Regardless, it's tough to say which of the 2 fighters is actually boxing the better level of opposition right now, but given my thoughts on the female heavyweight division, which Shields has basically already cleaned out at this point, I'd give the nod to Fundora for right now. At the time of writing this video, Claressa Shields is 30 years old, in the prime of her career and the best fighting shape she'll ever be in, and with the way she's fighting, she could easily go on for the next 10 years if she wanted to, though I think it's a safer bet that she retires around 35. Another 5 years at the top of the sport, even at her current weight class, would add a healthy amount of titles to the legend's already overflowing trophy cabinets, and would certainly solidify Claressa Shields' spot as arguably the greatest female fighter ever. Whether it's Gabriela Fundora or another talented female fighter in the future, it's undoubtedly a large ask to outdo the incredibly accomplished Claressa Shields, but like they say, records are meant to be broken. With the right moves made at the right time, I could very well see Fundora, at the very least, going for undisputed in a second weight class, but with her skill set, I imagine she could go on to accomplish much more. Let's hope for a bright future for the young undefeated superstar and a storybook ending to the legendary career of Claressa Shields. Do you think that Gabriela Fundora has what it takes to surpass the American champion, in most eyes the greatest female fighter to ever lace up the gloves? If not Fundora, who do you think will be able to achieve greater things? Or will Claressa Shields' legacy be one that remains untouched and unbeaten for the rest of time? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more of my content.